welcome back to Coffee or Tea. No phones allowed, so let's put them away, guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Hi guys, welcome back with another round. Today we have a wonderful group of humans. This here is Lauren.
I'm Jenny.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And I'm Anna, as usual. And today we've got an interesting topic. We actually picked this out of the jar last episode, and the topic is actually it is raising women or girls to be somebody instead of somebodies. Like, so basically finding validation, just raising girls to be their own selves first. So before we get started, we have to get something to drink, right?
Yes, please.
Yes. Cool. All right. So what would you like?
I would take a coffee.
Coffee. I'll take tea.
Sweet tea as always.
Coffee all the way.
Okay, ready? Let's get them over here. 1, 2, 3.
Flamingo.
Magic. Cheers. Cheers.
Yummy. Coffee all the way.
I love my tea. This is exactly what I needed.
So we're talking about a young girl growing up into a woman and becoming a somebody versus somebody else's, which is very, very, very important, especially nowadays when feminism is a huge topic and it's all girl power nowadays. And I feel like it needs to be said more often than not. Growing up as a girl, obviously, my mom was always insisted on, be strong, be independent, hold your ground, grow up to be somebody who you want to be, and don't find your self-worth through somebody else, because what if you never find that somebody else? Like, I've always dreamt of, growing up, getting married and having kids and living like the big beautiful life, but like, what if I never find that? I need to find who I am as a person before that could ever happen. Give me
Absolutely.
good advice.
Yeah, that was so well said. Yeah, I can definitely, I agree 100% that finding yourself first. I've always been very independent, and I grew up with boys and everything, so I was never really treated that differently from the boys. I was very aware that I was a girl when they would say, no, you can't play with us, you're a girl. But I definitely was never totally aware that I couldn't be something or do something or whatever it was because of my gender, just in my household at home. But when I got to the phase of dating and all that kind of stuff, I definitely found that I didn't, all other ways, I was cool with who I was, except for when it came to dating. And that's when I would lose all of my who am I, and I would get so glued on the other person. And I found a lot of validation through somebody liking me back.
And I think that's like what we were talking about the other day, self-worth is so important, and when you find somebody, it's great, but life is not a fairy tale. You can find somebody and be happily married for 30 years plus, but what if they wake up one day and leave you? And then you're like, who am I? After all this time, I never found myself. I think it's really important to begin there, and then, you both grow by yourselves, find who you are, and then join together as one.
Yes.
And that just makes all the difference. And going back to what you said really quick too, I really wasn't raised in an independent household. All the women in my family are very dependent on the person that they're with. And, I've seen them struggle when they want to leave somebody, but they can't leave because they don't have the money, or they don't have the, independence to leave. They don't believe in themselves to leave. And growing up, I just became the complete opposite of that. For me, I am just I wanted to be nothing like them. So I was like, I'm going to be completely independent. I'm going to,
Good for you.
Learn to, I would never be stuck in a situation. That's my goal in, relationships and stuff. So I think it's just kind of the complete opposite of what you said, but it's just so important to do.
Yeah, that is interesting in how you came from where that was what was normal in your household to being so different. What changed that for you?
I don't know if there was ever a change. I just saw what, not specifically my parents, but my aunts and, my grandma, and I just saw how they wanted so much more for themselves, but they weren't able to have that. You know what I mean? I was just I don't want to ever put myself in that position. I want to love myself. I want to, believe in myself if I can leave, and I want to be strong enough to do that, and that starts with self-worth.
Totally.
So I appreciate everything that y'all are saying. Listen, guys, it is 2018. Let boys be boys. All right?
Yes!
Seriously, it's all about finding your identity, and only you can do that. I have 3 nieces, 2 nephews, 3 goddaughters, and I want them to be what they want to be when they want to be.
Yes.
Preach.
I have a niece myself, and she's almost 2, and I will cry if I find out that she is growing up to try to be somebody else, you know? Like, I want her to find who she is, you know? Like, I'm in your shoes.
Oh yeah. And when you find your life partner, you know, they should truly support your individuality. That's what it is. Individuality.
Yes.
I always say that. That's so funny. I'm always like, when you meet the right person, like they will want you to go out with your girls on girls' night. They will encourage you to find, you know, be who you are and not lose yourself in that relationship.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, you know, girls like to help people find their way. You know what I mean? And change people.
Yeah.
And they see the light, but you know, it's not always like that. And you really have to focus on yourself first. And it should be like he's helping you as much as you're helping him. You know?
Yeah, and I find that, you know, isn't it wonderful if you've had experiences with dating at all, when you, or just meeting somebody and friendship, whatever it is, that you feel like you can be your complete self. You're not worried at all by what they think of you. You're not worried at all about any of that. You can just be you, and they celebrate that, and they want to be a part of that, and you want to be a part of them being them. It's great. You're like meeting each other there instead of needing something from one
It's
another.
a team, right?
Yeah.
Team, 100%.
Yeah, and
totally.
I think that's why it's so important to become like who you are first, who he is first, and then enjoy it together. It just makes all the difference.
Yeah, because after all, you're gonna be with each other. If you're married, you're gonna be with each other for the rest of your lives. You know, you gotta find out and like what makes you you and what you like and what you don't like. And then if that doesn't match, then it's not gonna last 50 plus years like a fairy tale you want.
I think that's hard with dating too, because a lot of people don't know what they want. You know what I mean? So it's like they want these really serious relationships, but they still don't know for themselves what they want. So they end up, you know, in a pattern of the same type of people instead of, you know, going out and trying new things and learning about themselves. You know, ultimately.
Yeah.
That is a real issue. I mean, it's going off into a whole nother tangent and a whole nother subject.
It is.
But, you know, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about marriage and divorce. The potential emotional effect that it can take on that person just because that they have not found who they are and what they want to do in life, it's mind-boggling. And when my nieces come to me and they want to talk about, you know, what do you want to be? And then they want to talk about their boyfriends or this and that and the other. I'm like, no, what do you want to be?
Yeah,
You know?
what do you want?
That's a really interesting point. I was just thinking about, so what is the best way for, say, if we were, for our nieces and nephews, if we have children of our own, for kids in our community to help them discover those things, to help them think about, I mean, is that something to where we speak to them differently about stuff, you know, or is it something to where, even the question of, I talked to a friend who, I grew up watching princess movies, of a lot of the princesses I watched were people that needed to be in a relationship to be happy. But now they're changing with Disney, everything they're doing more like the princesses are doing what makes them happy, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But my friend who grew up at the same time as me, he's like, oh, well, I always watched movies about animals and people that were, I watched princesses too, but for the most part, the ones that he was exposed to were about people doing things for themselves. Right. So I thought that was a really interesting way of talking to kids differently about like finding themselves, you know?
Right. Yeah, so my advice for ladies, and even some guys too can take this advice too, is just thrive. Just when you're growing up and you're just not sure who you are, just thrive. Find groups, or you can even find a church.
Put yourself out there
Do
to
mission
find
trips,
what you
or
like.
just go out
Trial
for
and error.
girls' night, guys' night. Yeah, trial and error.
for
Find what you like, find what you don't like, and trust me, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
In just a matter of time.
Yeah.
It took me a couple years, but I'm now 25, and my mama was right. You don't really know who you are until you're about 25. My mama was right.
Don't be afraid to go do those things.
Don't
that
be
make you
afraid.
happy.
Don't
Yeah.
be afraid.
Yeah.
Be who you want to be.
Yeah. Oh, that's. Oh, and I feel like
Make it you. Be selfish. Be selfish.
Be selfish.
It's okay.
Yeah, selfish is not a bad thing.
Not at all.
In that way. Yeah, definitely. But thank you guys so much for being here. I think that was an awesome discussion.
It
about
was.
the topic.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Hopefully you guys found something from it too. I always love talking about this because it's something that I'm learning and growing through as well. So thank you for submitting, whoever submitted that topic. Awesome job. But also I wanted to bring up one way to find great things that make you passionate as well. That's my dog in the background.
Dogs. Love them.
One way to make things, you know, to find those passions that you have is actually bUneke. It's a nonprofit that puts this show on. We've got some magazines right there. They're wonderful. They really do love to highlight awesome individuals and organizations who are making a difference in the world, and we're so glad to be a part of it. So check them out, bUneke.org. And thank you again to Starbucks for getting us some coffee.
Yes,
As always,
thank you,
on
Starbucks.
Awesome trail in Orlando. Thank you guys. It's really kind
and make
of
sure
you.
to like.
Oh, subscribe.
Yeah, comment down below what other topics you would like us to talk about.
Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stay tuned for
and
the
turn
next
on those
episode.
notifications. You see that little bell? Click on that. So that way you know when our next video is coming up, okay?
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And thank
Thank
you
you.
guys too.
Thank you.
Bye.